اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. As we navigate our way through life and trying to find out what the purpose is and what this life is all about and trying to define our own life, it is important to take instructions from revelation, from Allah, from Ahlulbait, to at least help us understand the principles by which life can be defined in the most proper manner. And once it is defined, then it will help us to navigate ourselves through life in the best way possible. And that's what we are speaking about, is life. Life has, as you would see, life has three dimensions. There's the length of life, there's the height of life, and there's the width of life. Now, the length of life is how long you will be alive for. And the answer to that is you will be alive forever. You are alive forever. No one is going to take this life away from you. When Allah gave it to you, it's not going to finish. It's going to go on. The greatest mistake we have made in our life is to think that it's all going to end. And because we think it's all going to end, it is a miserable life. We can never be happy with anything knowing that it's going to be taken away from you. You know, Ibrahim, Allah takes his example and speaks of Ibrahim as to the quality of someone who's a thinker. When he saw the moon and says it's gone, he saw the sun, he says it's gone. Naturally, we do not like things that fade away, that disappear. And hence, to us, we naturally do not like things that are going to be lost, are going to go away from us, that we are going to separate from. And hence what happens, that never gives us true happiness. So if Allah had given us life only for a few years, then it would be a very sad life. That's it, Allah, only for a few years and you're going to take it away from me? So it's not a good thing. And that's why the length of Allah has saying that, oh, I'm not going to take this life. You are alive forever. Forever. And this, once we start to realize that, we will see that you will start becoming confident. You will start to gain self-confidence in your own self, knowing that nothing can happen to me. When a person, for example, goes into a shootout, then there's a risk of bullets hitting him. And so you see that he's really shaky. Anyone is shaky, you know. When you go out there in the battlefield or in a place where bullets are being fired, you'll see you are scared. And any bullet that comes is going to hit you, is going to hurt you. Now, tell me, if you were given a bulletproof vest, will that help you become a little bit more confident? A little bit, right? At least it gives you a idea that, you know what, I am protected. Now, let's say if you were given a full bulletproof armor that no bullet can hurt you, no matter where it hits. Now, that will give you a lot of confidence. If you get to know that no one can harm your life and take it away from you, that's the same feeling of confidence a person has. I'm confident nothing's going to happen to me. I am fine. I am fine. And when you understand that, then you understand that, you know what? If death is just a door that takes me from one room to another, whether the door is here or one room later, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have to go there anyway. That's where I belong. And hence what happens is that then you gain the confidence of overcoming the fear of death. If a person doesn't believe in life, he will never conquer the fear of death. And the fear of death will overwhelm his life, and really his life will just be led in this fear and will never amount to greatness. A person cannot become great by fearing death. He'll become good. Yes, it'll help you to rectify yourself and you'll become good, but you'll never become great. You become great when you understand life and start believing in your life. That's where greatness comes in. That's where people achieve that amazing result of success. The people who died with Imam Hussein did not conquer death. They started to believe in their lives. And death really had no meaning then for them. It was just nothing. But if they had feared death, it will become so overwhelming that they would never go forward with it. And this is something that we need to understand about life. Things about life, as I'm explaining to you, are things that when a person understands this, that's what happens. Now, the height of life is what you achieve of this life. What do you want to be in the hereafter, in your real life, depends on what you do right here and what you achieve right here. That's why if you want to achieve greatness, then you have to live life that way. A misunderstanding amongst people is that life, we need to sacrifice this life for that life. And by that they mean, do not enjoy anything here. Abstain yourself from any enjoyment here so that you can get it in the hereafter. Now this has led a lot of people down the tube into a really bad situation. So let me explain that. We said a salawats. You know, when a person starts abstaining from things and runs away from what Allah is giving him and stays away and thinks that this is some sort of taqwa, in which it's not. He thinks that this is some sort of a way that he becomes pious by doing that. He does not. If that's what Allah wanted, He wouldn't have given it to you. The reason Allah gives it to you is not that so that you run away from it, so that you take it and learn how to control it. The idea of having a knife is not to run away from the knife, but to hold it and know how to use it, what to do with it. The same thing, Allah gives all the blessings to us. Whether He gives a job, a business, money, whatever He gives us is so that we take it and know how to use it, how to conquer that, not to run away from it. Running away from it is not a sign of taqwa, it's a sign of cowardice. It's a sign of a person being a coward. Someone who has it and is able to really play with it and control it is someone who is brave. Someone who's brave. And it's brave people, you see that the way they live their life is always on the edge. They're always happy, they're always enjoying, they're always having fun. And when you look at those people, you're like, you're not religious. Really? Okay, fine. Whatever that means. But the fact is that those who are brave never are afraid. It's people who fear, you see, never do these things. Why? They're always afraid of something. They're afraid of their reputation being lost. They're afraid of the opinion of people. They're afraid of criticism of other people. They're always afraid, and these fears is what's making them stay in a cave, never grow up. Now, what happens with such people is that they might achieve things in life, but they can never achieve the greater things Allah has in store for human beings. So people who are coward and run away from what requires courage and requires you to get things and use it and then live life like that, those people you see achieve the greater things in life. For example, shahadat. Shahadat is not for the meek and the cowards. You don't become shaheed running away from the battlefield and someone shoots you with an arrow in the back. People call those people shaheed, but you never wanted to fight and you're running away and you got hit in the back. Really, shuhada, the ones who face danger, take the arrow in their heart and in their chest. And they are like that. And when you look at these shuhada, who are these shuhada? They are the ones who lived their life to the full. Their life had lots of value. By value, what I mean is this. Let me explain that so it doesn't become like lost on you. By value, what I mean is that when people see him, they become envious. Wow, this guy has a lot. This guy is something else. He has like all these things. He's so happy, he's so successful, he's so this. When you look at a person like that and people look at you like that, and you're so successful, you're this, you're that, and they admire you for that. Now what happens is this. Then a person like that has more to lose. Reputation, he has reputation to lose. Money, he has money to lose. Dunya, he has dunya to lose. So someone who has dunya stands the chance of losing dunya. Now sacrifice is what? The more you have, the more you lose. The more you sacrifice, the greater is your sacrifice. If you have no dunya, then what are you sacrificing? If you have nothing to lose, you don't stand to lose anything. You're not sacrificing anything. So for example, if I can't find, let's say, if I can't find happiness in this dunya, then I'm saying, you know what? I'm just going to lose it, and inshallah I'll get akhirat. In akhirat I'll get happiness. But what does that mean? So, what are you sacrificing then? My sadness and my misery? I'm sacrificing my misery. You're not happy. And that a person like that, what's he going to sacrifice? There's nothing to sacrifice. So he's escaping here. He's running away from here. He's not giving anything up for Allah. Because you have nothing to give up. You have nothing to give up. Make it dunya for yourself so that when you sacrifice it, it has value. That your giving up has value. That you gave up these things. Zuhaib. If you look at Zuhaib, right? He was a European companion of the Prophet. Blonde-haired, blue eyes, European guy who used to be with the Prophet, right? He came to the Prophet. But you know how he came to the Prophet? He was a rich businessman, very wealthy man in Mecca. Very wealthy. He had lots of money. And so what happened is that when the Prophet migrated, he followed the Prophet. And they caught him. They caught him. And so now he had a choice to go back to Makkah and, live, because he has wealthy. He has slaves. He has everything. He has a mansion. So what he did is that he says, listen, I'll make a deal with you. I'll give all my wealth to you. All my mansions, you take them all. Let me go. So the captors who were there, they're like, wow, he has a lot of money here. Give us that. So they let him go, and they had him, and he went to the Prophet penniless. He came to Medina penniless, and when he met Rasulullah, then Rasulullah told him, you have made a great deal. His stature in the eyes of Rasulullah is different than someone who has nothing and is running away. Is nothing and running away. So they're good people who have nothing and run away. They're not bad for doing that. They're good people. But great people are the ones who had and they gave it up. So in order for you to achieve greatness, you need to have something. And the greater greatness you want, the greater height you want, you need to have that much more. So my friends, the reason Allah created the life of this world is not to run away from it, but to get so much of it that when you have to sacrifice it for your real life, you're ready to do so. This is the way to live a life here. The way that you live a life here is not by running away and escaping and hiding and just making this miserable face and saying that I'm a muttaqi person. No, you don't do that. What you do is that you conquer this dunya. You take it in its hand and then divorce it. Imam Ali divorced the dunya. He didn't run away from it. Divorce means that you got married to it first. You had it. And then you divorced it. When Imam Ali said, I divorce you, it means that he had it. And he's divorcing it. Not that he didn't have it. If he didn't have it, we'll ask, Mawla, what are you divorcing? You never had it in the first place. The fact is, when Imam Ali said that, it means he has it. He has dunya. He has everything dunya can offer him. And then he kicks it out of his house. He leaves it. This is greatness. And Allah wants us, human beings, to be great. That's why He put us in this life and gave us these blessings, not to run away from them, but to receive from Him and become the better receiver of knowing that I got it from Allah and I'm ready to give it back to Him. I got it from Him and I'm able to sacrifice this. This is, my friends, the way to greatness. That's why when you look at the Shuhada with Imam Hussein, you recognize that in them. You recognize that in them. Ali Akbar was not someone who had nothing. No, he was the most capable person you can find in that whole and everywhere, anywhere in the world you see. The most capable, the most able. The person who had the best capacity for everything, the most looked upon, the most, you can say, sought after person in that whole field. That's why his sacrifice means a lot. He sacrificed a lot. Imam Hussein sacrificed a lot, losing a son like Ali Akbar. It's not that easy. Friends, the higher you go, that's why the sacrifice means something. The way to live our life here is when Allah gives His blessings, you receive it from Allah. And you thank Him for it. And you utilize it and use it until you become a stature that everyone looks at you and looks up to you and admires you for it. And then when you reach that place, that's when you say that this is not worth anything. This is not worth anything. This is the way of growth. You want to grow higher? You want to make yourself great? That's how you live your life here in this world. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The issue is that mediocre people cannot understand greatness. They cannot deal with it. Whenever a person is mediocre, you will see that he is a slave of dunya, that anything that happens, he's like holding on to it, scared of losing it. That person doesn't understand greatness. In fact, he looks at it and he's scared of it. He's scared of people who are great. Because to him, these people have no fears. And when you have no fear, you're dangerous and you're going to put everyone else in danger. There's a lot of fear in them like that. And what happens is that when you have those fears, how can you ever conquer those things that are bringing fear into you? If money is so important to you that you can't lose it, and that you're willing to hurt others to make sure that you don't lose it, then you will never be able to conquer money. Money is ruling you. It has enslaved you. You are just a slave now of money. Relationships, same thing. If relationships are so important for you that you will sacrifice your deen in order to save relationships, how in the world are you going to sacrifice those relationships for Allah's sake? You can't, because the person who's doing that is a mediocre person. Allah doesn't want us to be mediocre. He wants us to conquer our relationships, conquer our dunya, have it and conquer it, and then control it and say that I am in charge of this. You're not going to make me do things. Money, you are not. I am in charge. You're mine. I will use you the way I want to. You will not use me and sway my opinion. You are nothing. You are my property. That's where we need to be with this dunya. Dunya, you are my property. I can spend you the way I want. And when a person has that attitude, then he will start understanding what greatness is. What makes Imam Ali great? What makes him great? We think that, he ripped up the door of Khaybar and this and that. No, really, those are like little things he has achieved. Little things he has done. The ultimate achievement of Imam Ali is the fact that he was the master. Everything was his slave. He was the master of what he owned. He was the wali of what he owned. No one else made him change his way. He was the one who changed what he had and gave it away. This is greatness. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, when we came to the width of, this is the height of life. And that's how you live your life here in order to achieve greatness there. Now, the width of life is the possibilities that you have. How much is it possible for you to utilize and to use Allah's blessings? How much can you receive from Allah? Allah wants to give you everything. But can you receive it? How much can you open yourself for that? How much can you unlock your potential? All of these things. So we discussed that the way that you unlock your potential is by obeying Allah. Allah put limitations on you in this life. In this life, He put limitations of Shariat on you in order that it can unlock your ability to receive His blessings in Akhirat. So every time you pray and worship Allah, you are unlocking your ability to receive Allah's blessings. Every time you stay away from haram, you are unlocking your ability to use Allah's blessing. You don't see it here, you will know it there. How big you are and how much you are able to take from Allah is known there, not here. Here you just keep on going until those are open. Now the only question is this. That, okay, if Allah wanted us to use the blessings there and we want to use the blessing there, why did He give these blessings here? If He didn't give this here, we wouldn't get attracted by them. And if you didn't get attracted by them, we won't be deceived by them. Right? Meaning that, Allah, if you didn't give me that desire here in this world, then I would be looking for the hereafter and living for it. But now that you gave me that desire, you gave me a sweet tooth to eat all the desserts, and you brought the desserts in front of me, that's just too hard of a temptation. Now those sweets and desserts are in front of me, what can I do? If you had kept them away from me, I would have dreamed of the akhirat, I will get my desserts there. But isn't this, detrimental for us? That we have all these desserts in front of us right here, which makes us fall down? Allah, why did you give it here then? And that's what I answered for you. Simple, my friends. Allah did not give it to you here so that you can run away from it. He gave it to you so that it can be an appetizer. It was meant to be an appetizer. You like, for example, biryani. Is that your final goal? That's it? Is that your height? You don't think that there's a better biryani somewhere? Don't you want to aim higher? If it's there, you might want to aim higher. So the biryani you want is there. Same thing is going to apply to all these things. Everything that we have in this world, Allah has given to us so that we use it, and then we said, Allah, I want more, I want better. Then Allah is saying, very good. Now those more and that greater that you want is not available here. You'll have to wait until you come there. Aim for that then. Not to run. Salawat ala Muhammad. That's the way it is. And really, and this is what we are about here. We are about achieving greatness here. And greatness, in order to achieve it here, you have to use the blessings Allah has given you, utilize them, conquer them, control them, and use it to achieve greatness. That's the way to do it. You cannot do it by running away. That is not the meaning of taqwa. It is a misnomer. People who really do not have an understanding of deen, they will tell you stay away from these things. Allah never meant that. Ahlulbait never thought that. In their life, they never did that. If you look at Rasulullah, he partook in every social activity that is meant for human beings. He partook in that. He got married. He had children. He had friends. He had relatives. He had friends. He had a social life. He wasn't running away and hiding from them. He went there, stood with them, sat down with them, spoke to them, and then did not do ghibat. Then did not lie. He wasn't running away and hiding in the mountain and not doing ghibat. That would have been easy. Just stay away from everyone, and you will assure yourself that you will never lie in your life. Everyone can do that. He made himself be around people and did not do it. That's the idea. You live your life to the full and then protect yourself from haram. So I will end over here, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq and the blessing to be on the right paths, the wisdom to understand His guidance, hasten the reappearance of our Imam, make us His helper when He comes. Wa akhiru da'wana, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.